I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Monday, August the 17th, the 48th anniversary of yours truly here. Brought to you in part by Joplin Regional Stockyards, starting a little later here on this Monday at 7:30 in the morning. Kind of a lighter run, 3,500 head, but they are having several lots of video cattle to sell right following the sale right there from the barn, so you can get on dvauction.com. View and bid the live sale and view and bid the video lots that they have there. But summer winding down. I always know when it's my birthday, we're just about done with summer. We got a lot of hot weather yet to go, but kids are going back to school, or they should be going back to school. A lot of them are not offering in school and continuing to do that from home, which is you guys know that's detrimental to their learning. Heard on Sunday that school-age children are 6 times more likely to die of influenza than they are the COVID-19. But we've got to get things back to normal, guys. I was up in Iowa over the weekend. I was humbled to be able to serve as a celebrity showman for the Governor's Charity Steer Show there in Iowa. And it was not like normal. It didn't have it at the Iowa State Fair. I was bummed out to miss out on that, but had it there at the Iowa State University campus. Still a great event. They still raised a lot of money for the charity that they had there, which was the Ronald McDonald Houses of Iowa. And I want to give big kudos to the team that asked me to join in this, and those that I work with. The Monroe County Cattlemen's there in southern Iowa. Stephanie and Jordan Haywood there, they did most of the work, with the exception of Lauren Bayer. It was her steer. She raised that steer, and it was a great steer. We called it the Trust Buster. We were trying to draw more attention to the 5014 bill and the need for minimum negotiated cash requirement, and I think we did some of that. So that was good. I want to give a shout out to her parents there, her mom Renee, her stepdad Tracy Howell there. They were all very nice to me. Justin Murphy there was down from Russell Livestock there, and enjoyed visiting with him and everybody. We raised over $8,500, just our team, just over $8,500 for the Ronald McDonald Houses of Iowa there. Went out and had a nice supper. Got to meet sexy Rexy McDermott. That was kind of an experience there, and give a shout out to him also. But I noticed some of the crop damage there north of Des Moines there, but south of Ames, right in that area, and Keene area. Did see some of the damage there. Didn't see as much of it as I would have liked to have seen. There was swaths through there where the corn was definitely down, and a lot of it definitely broke off. I'm not sure exactly how much of it's going to be. They said that there was somewhere between a third and a half of Iowa's corn crop was affected by the high straight line winds over 100 miles an hour that just kind of swept through the state there. And it's going to be kind of a game changer. I'm not sure how much more we're going to be able to find out about it. We'll see how the Chicago Board of Trade corn futures react to that this week. But Iowa makes up about 18% of the U.S. corn crop. So when a third to a half of Iowa's crop is affected by this storm, that it could be a game changer. But not the whole fields were wiped out on there. They were affected by it, but there were strips in there that were sure knocked down. Some of it might be standing tall enough to still shell. Some guys may be in there to be able to get in there and pick some of that down corn up and chop it into silage. But the guys weren't sounding very excited about the success of getting that done. They said they've had a hard time trying to do that in the past. That they've tried, putting a bean head on there and try to scrape that stuff up, but it just doesn't work very good. So, and the down corn was not quite mature enough to shell, so we weren't able to do that. In fact, Governor Kim Reynolds from Iowa there, she was not able to be at the Governor Charity Steer Show that the governors normally attend because she was inspecting crop damage, and it's a big deal up there. A lot of people, thousands and thousands of people, and a lot of communities still out of power in that central Iowa region there. And I don't know if everybody's getting as much news about that as what it is, but it's definitely a big deal. But your corn futures ended the week, or December new crop corn, at 338. You remember even late last week or late the previous week, they were sitting around 310. So they've come up some on the futures, but the basis has really tightened up. You know, we were working with like a negative 65% basis there, and they have really tightened up. Some of them in the 20s, some of them in other areas still out in the 40s, but that's making a big difference on your cash corn price there, and it could cause some of your farmer feeders to back off just a little. But it really hasn't hurt your feeder cattle. It was probably more profit taking there on Friday when your feeder cattle went down, and Thursday some too, more than the corn. But it could affect them here going forward. We'll have to look at that. But let's look at the board for last week. Your August live cattle futures, Monday was up 80, Tuesday up $1.05, Wednesday up $1.70. Thursday up 70 cents, and Friday up 55. Up every single day, your live cattle futures. And ending the week with August at 107.60. That was $4.80 gain for the week there on your spot live cattle futures, which will be going off here before too long. October, 110.22 to end the week, and that was up 377. You look way out front, your April sitting at 117.80, and that's something you can kind of hedge to, guys. Look at your fat cattle trade for last week. Through Thursday, they had sold 69,700 head, negotiated in your 5-area feeding region. They had some more cleanup type trade on Friday, but we're not going to see as big of movement as we've seen here the last several weeks. We're going to fall well short of the 100,000, which is kind of a benchmark to whether they sold several negotiated cash or not. But with only 69,700 through Thursday and pretty minimal trade on Friday, we're not going to reach that. But your fat cattle live sales through the week ranged from 102 to 107, with most of your sales well within that range and kind of moving towards the top side of that range. But your live steer weighted average through Thursday was about 104.5, and that was about $3 higher for the week. But we'll wait and see what finishes out, and that report will be out on Monday, and I'll tell you about it on our next visit. But dress steers and heifers range from 163 to 170 through Thursday, with a dress steer weighted average of 168.06. That was about $5 higher, but we had some higher prices yet on Friday, so continued good demand, and we likely should be able to gain more ground in your fat cattle arena this week. And don't price them any cheaper, guys. You can get more money for those cattle, especially you guys up in the northern plains. But on Friday, excuse me, Iowa had confirmed sales of about 1,800 head, from 105 to 107 live, 165 to 170 dressed. Nebraska had more than that, about 7,600, but Nebraska's still going to be kind of light there for the week, but ranging live from 105 to 106. Dress sales in Nebraska from 165 to 170, 150. Not likely a lot of cattle at that 170, 150, but that's by far the highest price that we saw all week for fed cattle. Kansas only 1,800 head at 105 and 168, and Texas didn't have any confirmed sales on Friday, and they sold the bulk of their cattle at 104. They're just too far from the shortage, and I say current, but maybe likely some shortage of fat cattle in the northern plains. Your northern plains packing plants are sure getting aggressive. They've been pulling cattle from Kansas here for the last several weeks, but Texas is just too much freight for that. And Texas is also carrying the biggest part of the backed up cattle. And your other areas, Kansas is getting pretty well caught up. Northern Plains fully caught up. And you're wondering where all those cattle were. I think we're kind of caught up on head counts now, with the exception maybe of Texas, but the weights did get backed up on us. So that's why we're seeing the heavier carcass weights, which are still running 30 pounds on the average heavier than a year ago. Your slaughter for last week, 640,000. That was 7,000 larger than the previous week, but 13,000 less than the same week a year ago. Most of that due to kind of a disappointing Saturday. Kind of hoping for a big Saturday like we have been seeing some since we've got back up to snuff here on our slaughter, but only 63,000 on Saturday, and that compares to 74,000 the same week a year ago. Let's talk about some of your, let's talk about your box beef cutout values. Your weighted average for last week on choice cuts, $209.91 on your weighted average. That was up $5.39 compared to the weighted average the previous week. Selects, $196.33 on the weighted average for all your select sales last week, and that was up $504. Pretty decent movement, 710 loads of cuts, grinds, and trimmings. On your feeder cattle arena, as we work through this week, don't forget about Ozarks Regional Stockyards' first ever in-house video. You can see there's several lots here. There's more than I could put on the screen, but you go to DV Auction, go to Livestock Markets, and we broadcast West Plains every Tuesday, but they're going to include the video lots this Tuesday. But you can go on to DV Auction and look at Livestock Markets on the schedule and go down to West Plains and go in there, and you can view those video lots, and it has the details on them. They're going to sell those during the regular sale Tuesday, and I believe they're going to shut down about 1:30 in the afternoon and sell those. They've got about 20 lots on there. There's weaned steers and heifer calves. There's grass yearlings on there. They've got a couple of loads of big Holsteins on there. But don't forget that Ozarks Regional Stockyard video this Tuesday about 1:30, and go on there and check out those video lots. But it's going to be this Tuesday the 18th. Now let's look at your real-time index on DV Auction, which ended the week at 141.40. That was up 47 cents compared to the end of the previous week. And if you look at your cash sales of feeder cattle, your bigger feeder weights were just kind of unevenly steady. You know, a couple bucks higher here, a couple bucks lower there, sometimes a couple bucks higher on the steers and lower on the heifers, or vice versa. But it seems like we're kind of getting right up there where everybody's comfortable with them right now, not really pushing the market. Now on calves, your calves, steer and heifer calves, especially your heavier weight feeding calves, were steady to $3 higher. And the best demand by far was on your middleweight feeding cattle, which are really your hard weaned fall born calves, weighing from 600 to 800 pounds there, and those were the best. And most of the demand coming from the Midwest and your farmer feeders there, because they put away a lot of cheap corn there and add value to that and cheapen themselves up as they grow. But let's talk about some top sales we saw late last week. How about Stanton, Virginia? Stanton Union Stockyards there. They had one of their special sales on Friday, including in there some grass yearlings, 62 head of them, weighed 823 pounds at $147. How about Farmers Livestock, Greenville, Tennessee? They had a board sale on Friday there, and they had some cattle coming from the Whispering Pines farm. Had a load of 880-pound steers. They were backgrounded, but all black and white. Been together for quite a while, all summer. Load weighed 880 at $136.75. How about one of our regular top sale barns? Crawford Livestock Market, Crawford, Nebraska, had a big special there last Friday. 124 head, 900-pound steers at $144.50. But the top quote that I saw late last week come out of Bloomington, Wisconsin. Bloomington Livestock Exchange, 66 head, 816-pound steers, bring $154. And that's your feeder flash for Monday.